Hello everyone, and welcome to my CBS Y&R Full Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Jill's medical crisis frightens Billy. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, January 26th indicate that Sally Spectra tells Jill Abbott's medical secret to Billy Abbott and Mariah Copeland kidnaps Dominic Winters. This is a whopper of an occasion, so let's progeny started tattling all the dirt for an instigative week ahead Y&R suckers. Mariah emerges. Dominic enjoys a day ice skating in Chancellor Park with his mama Abby Winters and dad Devon Winters. It's an idyllic family day and there's nothing in the air to advise Dabby that Dominic will soon be taken from them. But Mariah is on the loose and she urges Dominic to leave for an adventure with her. Mariah was Abby's surrogate and as far as the tot knows, she's a trusted member of the family's inner circle. Yet suckers know that Mariah isn't in her right mind. TBH, we've nearly forgotten why, given the extended nature of her most recent plotline. Which is why Devon and Abby don't suspect her when they discover that Dominic has dissolved. We may not see him again until he's 18. Abby and Devon fear. Abby and Devon search the grounds and interrogate the staff, but they don't have an indication as to where Dominic has gone. Devon tries to calm down Abby, but eventually they call the bobbies. And lo and behold, Detective Burrow from LA shows up. Silly are in the weeds away. Sally infuriates Billy after he learns that she tried to communicate Jill about Kane Ashby's Chancellor offer. The worst part comes next. Jill is in a medical extremity. Sally couldn't get a hold of Jill, but Snapper Foster answered the call. Snapper is Jill's MD family and Billy's uncle, and he has been covering Jill's iffy health. Jill has taken a turn for the worse it seems, and Billy is gobsmacked. Does this signal a coming together of mama and son to squash their beef? Billy gets alarming news in light of what he's heard. Billy is frantic to talk to Snapper himself and sues out what's going on with his mama. Will this extremity end their disgruntlement? Juicelicious, the Young and the Restless spoilers point to a determined Billy going on a hunt for answers. The morning air in Genoa City carries a deceptive calm, the kind that settles in before lives fracture and secrets explode, and no bone feels that discrepancy more sprucely than Abby Winters as she laces up Dominic's bitsy skates at Chancellor Park, smiling through a sense of peace she hasn't felt in months. Devon stands close, his hand resting protectively on Dominic's shoulder as horse laugh drifts across the ice rink, the three of them looking for all the world like a family eventually complete after surviving storms that nearly tore them piecemeal. For Abby, this moment feels earned. The backstabbings, the guardianship battles, the heartache, moment, they feel distant. Dominic giggles as he takes shuddery way onto the ice, and Abby's heart swells, ignorant that this happiness is formally slipping through her fritters. Across the domain, unnoticed but veritably important present, Mariah Copeland watches from a bench, her expression undecipherable, her mind contending with studies she no longer knows how to control. To Dominic, Mariah is safe, familiar, family. To the followership, she's a ticking time lemon, unraveling sluggishly, dangerously, and without a single person truly seeing how far she has drifted from herself. Mariah's smile is warm when she approaches, her voice gentle, soothing, as she crouches down to Dominic's position and tells him she has a surprise, a fun adventure just for them. Abby slightly looks up at first. Why would she? Mariah has always been Dominic's other mama in spirit, the woman who carried him, who loved him before he indeed took his first breath. Devon nods politely, detracted by a call on his phone, and in that brief lapse of attention, everything changes. Dominic reaches out his small hand, trusting without vacillation, and Mariah takes it, leading him down from the rink, down from safety, down from the life Abby and Devon have fought so hard to cover. By the time Abby turns back, calling Dominic's name, the bench is empty, the skates abandoned, and the cold consummation settles into her bones like ice water. Fear erupts incontinently. Abby's voice cracks as she screams Dominic's name, spinning in frantic circles while Devon drops his phone and rushes to her side, his own fear kindling as the unbelievable becomes real. Dominic is gone. The hunt begins chaotically, despair booting sense as Abby runs through Chancellor Park, questioning staff, surveying every path, every exit, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. Devon tries to stay predicated, tries to be the anchor Abby needs, but sweat claws at him too, sharp and grim. He knows this megacity, knows how snappily effects can go awry, and the longer Dominic is missing, the darker his studies come. Security is advised. The police are called. Abby collapses against Devon, blubbing, condemning herself for trusting too fluently, for letting her guard down indeed for a moment. And nearly not far down, Mariah buckles Dominic into an auto seat, her hands pulsing, bruiting to him that everything is going to be okay, that Mommy Mariah is just taking him nearly quiet, nearly safe, indeed, as her own reality fractures further with every afar she drives. As Abby and Devon give their statements, a familiar face arrives. Detective Burrow, flown in from Los Angeles, his presence both reassuring and portentous. He listens precisely, his expression grave, formally seeing that this isn't a simple missing child case. Abby mentions Mariah, her voice reluctant, torn between fidelity and terror, and the weight of that name hangs heavy in the air. Devon's jaw tightens. He knows Mariah has been floundering, but hijacking? The word feels too extreme, too cruel to accept, yet the substantiation begins to mount up mercilessly. Surveillance footage. Substantiations. A pattern no bone. Wanted to see until it was too late. As night falls over Genoa City, Abby and Devon are left adhering to each other, their world collapsing inch by inch, visited by the possibility that they may not see their son again for a veritably long time. Across city, an entirely different extremity detonates, one embedded not in exposure but in treason and fear. Billy Abbott storms into his office, formally seething after learning that Sally Spectra went behind his reverse, trying to communicate Jill Abbott about Kane Ashby's offer regarding Chancellor diligence. For Billy, it's the ultimate violation, continuing injuries that no way truly healed between him and his mama. Sally tries to explain, insists she was only doing what she allowed. Was stylish, but Billy's fury blinds him to reason, until the verity drops like a lemon. Sally didn't reach Jill because Jill couldn't answer the phone. Snapper Foster did. And what Snapper reveals sends the ground tipping beneath Billy's bases. Jill is sick. Not just under the rainfall, not just exhausted. She's in a full bloated medical extremity, one that has been worsening still, designedly hidden from Billy while resentment and distance rotted between them. Billy's wrathfulness evaporates incontinently, replaced by shock, guilt, and a deep, eating fear he refuses to name. Snapper's voice echoes in his head, clinical yet heavy with concern, explaining that Jill's condition has taken a turn, that stress hasn't helped, that time may not be on their side. Billy struggles to reuse it all, visited by the innumerous calls he didn't make, the harsh words left unsaid but deeply felt. Sally watches him unravel, remorse etched across her face as she realizes that her impulsive decision may have changed everything. Billy demands answers, demands to speak to Snapper himself, his voice cracking as he confronts the intimidating possibility that he could lose his mama before they ever find their way back to each other. At the Abbott manse, the walls feel heavier than ever as Billy paces, replaying every argument, every moment of stubborn pride that kept him from reaching out. Jill, redoubtable and fierce as she's always been, now lies in a sanitarium bed, her strength faltering, her body betraying her after a continuance of control. Snapper confirms what Billy fears most: Jill didn't want him to know. She didn't want pity. She didn't want conciliation born out of obligation. She wanted him to come back because he chose to, not because he was spooked. And that consummation breaks Billy in a way no business loss ever could. For all his bravado, all his toned sabotage, Billy is still a son hopeless for his mama's blessing, alarmed that he may have awaited too long. As Genoa City rolls from two ruinous stories unfolding in resemblance, the emotional stakes shoot. Abby sits alone in the dim nursery, clinging Dominic's favorite mask, bruiting pledges she doesn't know how to keep. Devon stands outdoors, making calls, pulling every string he can, his grief turning into a quiet, focused rage. Nearly on the road, Mariah sings vocally to Dominic, gashes streaming down her face as she convinces herself this is love, this is protection, this is what she's meant to do, indeed, as reality closes in. And Billy, gaping out at the megacity lights, makes a decision that could change everything, covenanting to put his wrathfulness away and fight for the one relationship that still matters further than any conglomerate ever could. This isn't just another occasion of the young and the restless. It's a collision of heartache and stopgap, of miscalculations coming due, of love tested in its most extreme forms. A child missing. A mama fading. A son awakening too late. And as secrets unravel and feelings enkindle, one thing is certain. Nothing in Genoa City will ever be the same again. Night falls hard on Genoa City, the kind of darkness that doesn't just cover thoroughfares but settles into people's bones, and nowhere is that heaviness felt further than in the silent corridors of Memorial Hospital. Billy Abbott stands frozen outside an unrestricted sanitarium room, gaping at the name on the door as if it might vanish if he looks down long enough. Jill Abbott. His mama. The woman who raised him, challenged him, fought him tooth and nail, and now lies behind that door in a fragile state he no way imagined her in. Billy presses his hand against the cool wall, trying to undergird himself, but his mind won't decelerate down. Every argument flashes back in sharp, merciless detail. Every sardonic comment. Every time he chose pride over conciliation. Snapper Foster steps beside him still, the weight of times in his tired eyes. He explains again, gently but forcefully, that Jill's condition worsened fleetly, that stress played a significant part, that her turn down to decelerate down may have done more damage than she ever admitted. Billy nods, slightly hearing him, because all he can suppose is that he wasn't there. Not when it signified. Not when she demanded him. Inside the room, Jill lies still, her face pale but unmistakably strong indeed in vulnerability. Machines hum vocally around her, each beep a memorial that time is no longer commodity to be taken for granted. Billy eventually gathers the courage to step outside, his bravado stripped down the moment he sees her like this. He pulls a president close to her bedside and sits, gripping her hand as if letting go might mean losing her ever. His voice cracks as he starts to talk, telling her everything he no way said, apologizing for every stubborn decision, every moment he chose wrathfulness over love. Jill doesn't wake, but her fritters twitch slightly, and Billy clings to that bitsy movement like a lifeline. For the first time in a long time, he isn't allowing about Chancellor, or Kane, or power plays. He's just a son who wants his mama to open her eyes. Across city, Abby Winters sits at the dining table of the Chancellor Manse, girdled by untouched food and well-meaning cousins who don't know what to say presently. Victoria tries to be probative, her voice calm but simulated, while Nikki hovers, offering comfort that slightly registers. Abby feels numb, hollowed out by the hours since Dominic dissolved. Every sound makes her jump. Every phone vibration sends her heart racing. Devon paces hard, his usual countenance fractured, his jaw gripped tight as he fields calls from the police and private investigators. Detective Burrow updates them with careful perfection, explaining that Mariah's internal state complicates effects, that they must traipse cautiously to avoid raising the situation. Abby hears the words but struggles to accept them. Mariah took her baby. No explanation makes that easier to swallow. Abby's grief morphs into guilt, replaying the moment she let her guard down, questioning her instincts as a mama. Devon tries to assure her, but is battling his own demons, visited by the fear that Dominic could be traumatized, or worse. Meanwhile, Mariah drives through back roads, designedly avoiding roadways, her mind spinning as prostration sets in. Dominic babbles happily in the aft seat, blissfully ignorant of the chaos he's caused simply by being. Mariah keeps glancing in the rearview glass, smiling at him one moment and breaking down the coming. She tells herself she's saving him, guarding him from a world that failed her, but deep down, mistrustfulness gnaws at her relentlessly. She remembers Sharon's upset aesthetics, Tessa's gentle questions, the warnings she brushed off. Each afar puts further distance between her and the life she formerly knew, and yet she can't bring herself to turn back. She pulls into a quiet roadside motel, choosing obscurity over comfort, induced that caching is the only way to keep Dominic safe. As she settles him into the room, Mariah whispers pledges she may not be suitable to keep, the weight of her conduct pressing down on her casket until breathing feels like work. Back at the sanitarium, Sally Spectra waits anxiously in the hallway, replaying her battle with Billy over and over. She knows she crossed a line, indeed if her intentions weren't vicious. When Billy eventually steps out of Jill's room, his eyes are red, his posture defeated. Sally approaches cautiously, offering a reason that feels shy in the face of everything unfolding. Billy doesn't lash out. Rather, he admits his alarmed, that for all his miscalculations, he no way imagined a world without Jill in it. Sally listens, realizing that this extremity has stripped Billy down to his most vulnerable tone. Whatever wrathfulness was between them fades, replaced by a participated sense of urgency and remorse. Billy resolves to stay by Jill's side, to fight for her the way she always fought for him, indeed when he didn't earn it. As dawn approaches, Genoa City begins to stir, ignorant of the emotional wreckage left behind overnight. News of Dominic's exposure spreads still but snappily, whispers turning into concern, concern turning into fear. Abby watches the daylight from the nursery window, clinging one of Dominic's stuffed creatures, her gashes eventually flowing after hours of emotional palsy. Devon joins her, belting his arms around her as they promise each other they won't stop searching, won't stop fighting until their son is home. The bond between them deepens in this participated agony, their love forged stronger by despair and stopgap. Yet the query remains unsupportable. Every fleeting hour feels like a continuance. At the Newman estate, Sharon senses commodity is deeply wrong indeed before the phone rings. When she learns what Mariah has done, her world tilts. She blames herself incontinently, questioning every parenthood decision, every missed sign that her son was unraveling. Tessa arrives, frantic and agonized, refusing to believe Mariah could designedly hurt anyone. Sharon struggles to console her while scuffling with her own terror. She knows Mariah better than anyone, knows how trauma can resurface without warning. Sharon insists on helping the police, offering perceptivity into Mariah's jest. Her managing mechanisms, her triggers. The possibility that her son could lose everything, including Dominic, crushes her, but she remains determined to bring Mariah home safely before unrecoverable damage is done. Back at Memorial Hospital, Jill stirs for the first time, her eyes fluttering open briefly as Billy leans forward, hope surging through him. She squeezes his hand weakly, her voice slightly audible as she murmurs his name. That single moment feels like a phenomenon. Billy promises her his then, that he's not going anywhere, that they'll fix everything together. Snapper watches from the doorway, cautiously auspicious but realistic about the road ahead. Jill's recovery won't be easy, and her health dread has counter-accusations beyond her family chancellor diligence hangs in the balance, power dynamics shifting as query looms. Kane Ashby's offer suddenly feels more threatening than ever, and Billy realizes that guarding his mama may mean making choices that challenge everything he allowed. He wanted. As the disquisition into Dominic's exposure intensifies, Detective Burrow traces Mariah's movements, making together surveillance footage and substantiation accounts. The pressure mounts as leads face, each one bringing stopgap and heartache in equal measure. Abby oscillates between determination and despair, adhering to Devon and her family as the weight of fatherhood feels heavier than ever. She questions whether she deserves Dominic, whether her once miscalculations ever led to this moment. Devon reassures her lifelessly, his own resoluteness strengthening with every handicap they face. Together, they covenant to rebuild their family no matter what scars remain. In the motel room, Mariah sits awake long after Dominic falls asleep, gaping at the ceiling as guilt crashes over her in swells. She hears enchantresses in the distance and prodigies if they're coming for her. Memories of her own nonage face unasked, painful and raw, blurring the line between once and present. She tells herself she's different, that she's giving Dominic commodity she no way had, but deep down she knows she's crossed a line she ain't uncross. Gashes stream down her face as she whispers justifications to a sleeping child who trusts her fully. By the time morning completely breaks, Genoa City is bracing for impact. Jill's health extremity threatens to realign alliances and renew old injuries. Dominic's exposure has united and divided families in equal measure. Billy stands at a crossroads, forced to choose between ambition and family, while Abby and Devon defy the darkest fear a parent can face. And Mariah, caught between love and vision, elevation closer to a reckoning that will change her life ever. This is the heart of the young and the restless families tested beyond abidance, secrets surfacing when it hurts the most, and love fighting desperately to survive against insolvable odds. As the week unfolds, feelings will explode, commitment will be questioned, and the consequences of one impulsive act will ripple through Genoa City in ways no bone could have prognosticated. One verity remains inarguable when the dust eventually settles: no bone will walk down unchanged.